All righty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another weekly update. Hope everybody is having a lovely start to their weekend. And with that being said, let's dive in to the TA and prepare for the upcoming week. All right, guys, a lot of opportunity, a lot of volatility in this market. We did get another red Friday like the last two Fridays. And then I don't know how Monday's going to open up, but the last two Mondays following those red Fridays were black Mondays. We did end up having these, 2 to 3% gap downs. QQQ over here was kind of, down 5% at the lows overnight here, I'm pretty sure. And then over here, again, we had something pretty similar. We fell off a cliff overnight coming into the, first day of the trading week. I am not sure if we are going to get the same thing this time, but it is definitely a possibility. So it is something that we should be aware of. And I also will skip forward here to Mr. VIX over here, VIX, the volatility index. As we could see, it still does have this, large bullish pennant kind of look to it. And we are finding buyers right here at the bottom. We have a heavily traded zone down here every time since its inception. You've gotten these reactions as you came into them. Okay, you get the reactions there. Well, you also have this lower trend line there. And, I don't know if you're going to break up through this upper trend line next week, but I will point it out ahead of time in case we do end up seeing a volatility spike. And I will say this dip is very likely to be a buying opportunity, just like the previous 2 weeks. We have gotten these dips that got bought up throughout the trading week. You got the dip over the weekend coming into the week, and then you got bought up. I don't know how this is going to go, but I do think VIX is probably going to be getting a little bit more of a bounce here, at least coming up here. We're either going to get something like this, all right, where then you break down, or we're going to end up flying out of this thing and really seeing VIX go for a ride. And that means the indices can pull back. So coming back over here to QQ, guys, we do have the bearish engulfing candlestick on today. I'll show the weekly chart, but I'm not going to say there's anything new to look at here. We have the break and retest off of our previous all-time high. Demand zone over here, break and retest right there. We still have that inverse head and shoulders kind of look to us over here on the daily time frame, but nothing really has changed here. We do have our second week in a row with that nice large upper wick there. That's not the best look for the bulls, but at the end of the day, I'm just going to say we are just consolidating. Anybody who's telling you that the market is about to sell massively before the market has actually done anything is speaking out their butt. And I stand by that. There is nothing on these charts that's suggesting for you to be, extremely bearish here. We have VIX here ready to, probably spike here. That gives us a pullback over here on QQ. Do I think that pullback is going to, be more than a pullback and come down here and come all the way back down here to 500? No, I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think we're taking out the low. I think the bottom is in. I think we're just going to continue consolidating here until we break out from this consolidation. And then we have that next $10 to $20 leg up over here on SPY and QQQ. So, it is a patience game. Nothing really changed over there in the weekly chart. Still just consolidating above the previous all-time high. Nothing bearish about that. So keep that in mind. That is the weekly time frame that is telling you there is nothing bearish about this. On the daily time frame, that smaller time frame in this case, we do have a nice bearish engulfing candlestick on the day. And, as we see, we had last Friday that closed out like that. And we did have a red Friday before that. But specifically last Friday, we had a similar candlestick here, bearish engulfing candlestick right there with that upper wick. And we did get that gap down. On the downside, your support is going to be 520.85 and then 518.21. Now, come down here to 515.58 under 518.21. That's where you got to hold. You have the 0.618 fib starting up here at 519, but around 515.58, right on there, is your 0.786 Fibonacci retracement level from this most recent advance. If you take that out, chances are you're going to have 100% retracement. That takes you back to 510.15. At that point, you're probably going to start, really breaking down here. I don't know exactly how that would go. But we will see. Now, I'll point out on the Mag 7 stocks why I don't think we're going to be starting a big move down here. I think most of the downside has already been had over there on the Mag 7 stocks. I'll point that out. But that is tying into this overall thesis of being bullish on this dip. There's not really a reason here for me to think we're going to have this next leg down in the market. There's really just not. So that's just not how I'm going to be, positioning myself. That's not how I'm going to be trading the market. And, I will share my opinion here on this channel. I'll go over the charts, but, just understand my opinion is tied into all of this, and there's no financial advice on this channel. So I could be wrong, could be right, get most things right on this. But I will tell you, there is the possibility that I'm completely wrong and the market falls off a cliff. I don't think that's going to be the case. Okay. Break 515.58, 510.15, 505.71, 499.70. Again, weekly chart. Does this tell you to be bearish? No. If you pull back down into here, you're probably just going to find buyers again. That is that. It's bullish until it isn't. It is what it is. On the upside, as resistance, you're going to have 523, 525.97, 528.15, 531.24, 533.82, and 539.15, current all-time high. They did pull back to the short-term moving averages. As we could see last time, it did not hold up. That is why Monday's open, I do think, is going to be rather important here. If we get a gap up here, let's say we gap up to like 525, 526, I think we probably are going to start pushing. But then let's say we gap up and we hold and we close out, we gap to the 526. We, close the day out at 528, 529. Well, now we have this bullish inside day after this very, bearish looking candlestick we printed on, here on Friday. Well, that sets us up for, it's looking a lot better here. We're probably going to start resuming the uptrend here, the move up. All right. But let's say you gap down again. You're gapping underneath the short-term moving average over here on the daily time frame, guys. That is not a good look. At that point, we look to see if the golden pocket between 519 and 515.50 holds. If 515.58 support cannot hold, then we're probably going to, have a bigger move down, and we will see. Then the next, line in the sand here is going to be down in this area. So at that point, we would take this one off, and we're going to be paying attention to here. If 507 then breaks, probably going to come down to $500. All right. We take things as we go here on this channel, and that's how, I think anybody who's a winner in the market should be approaching things. I'll flash the weekly chart, but again, nothing really has changed over here. You're just still in that uptrend. Most recent swing low here on the weekly time frame is 575.35. To really change this weekly chart around, you got to break that. I don't think that's going to happen the coming week, so we're not going to talk about it. On the daily chart, guys, same as QQ, we closed right here at the short-term moving averages. Support is 599.70, 597.75, 594.64, 590.49, and 585. 585, guys, if tested, that is going to be where we have our golden pocket. All right, right in here. That is, again, to be your, line in the sand there. Again, until these things start breaking here, do not get bearish. The dip is going to be a buying opportunity. If the thing starts going south, it is what it is. It's extremely unlikely, but it would be what it is. Okay. There's nothing you can do about it. You do not make money in the market from, knowing exactly what happens right around the corner here. You make money in the market from drawing a thesis. All right. And, just doing your best to play along that thesis, and you have to adjust. You cannot sit there and have this fixed bias. The market's going to rocket or the market's going to fall off a cliff. It's not how things work. We're continuously getting new data. That's why we have all these, we have a new video out, not every single day, but most days here on this channel, we have a video going over the price actions, because every day we're getting new data here, not on the weekends. All right. So resistance over here on SPY now is going to be 602.13. That's our big level. Get above there, guys. We're flipping it. 605.36, 608.15, and 610.78. I will just remind everyone, every single big tech stock just fell off of earnings. We did not get a single one besides Meta, who is relatively flat. We did not get a single one that pumped this market. They all fell. Yet the market, the NASDAQ over here, is still sitting right under highs. Does that tell you that you should be bearish? No, that is definitely not something to be bearish about, guys. That is something that tells you this market wants to be bought. New all-time highs are still incoming. You just have to be patient on a lot of people. they can look at this chart and they could say distribution. I said something on Twitter and someone was like, this distribution. I don't think this is distribution. I think the market this is literally you hitting it with the break and retest. All right. And like, if you want to call this distribution, I know it's, real choppy. I understand. But at the end of the day, this is what every single inverse head and shoulders pattern pretty much looks like. I know, you kind of got 2 left shoulders and 2 right shoulders, but that's literally what it is. So you're going to tell me every single continuation or reversal inverse head and shoulders pattern is a distribution pattern? I find it not. All right, this is a bullish pattern going on here. And, screw the pattern. I'm just going to talk about the structure. On the weekly chart, we're in an uptrend. We just came back, retested your trend moving average here, the 21 EMA over here on the weekly time frame, break and retested off of the previous all-time high, and continued going on. And you're still in that consolidation period that has now lasted for 2 months. This is a range that is $35. You're either going to break it to the upside and probably get an equivalent $35 move and push 565, or you break the bottom of the range and get a $35 move to the downside. Do I think you're getting a $35 move to the downside? No, I do not. All right. Be bullish on this market. If you get the $35 move to the downside, though, coming down here to the next golden pocket of the whole move up we just had over here on the weekly time frame, you can see it more clearly here on the monthly time frame. All right, so you don't have much of the zigzags going back and forth there. Okay, but that is what I'd be paying attention to until we really start coming down here and break it down. And like I said, it's like until it's that scenario where it is what it is, you can't do anything about it. You just got to adjust. You be bullish on this market. Okay, you're gonna have a good time. All right, IWM. Now, this is actually something that I am just testing out. Let me know down below in the comments if you enjoy seeing this. But instead of opening up the flow and going through it one by one with you guys, I kind of just posted some pictures on some of these charts that I'm seeing notable flow on today so I could talk about it in tonight's video. All right, so IWM, guys, we have $17 million, 17 million going here on the 235 calls for 321.25, guys. So by March 21st, someone is betting that IWM is going to be above 235. Price is currently only at 226. I do think there's a chance, a solid chance, that price will be making its way up to that 235 mark over the coming 1 to 2 months. I am not saying that happens here in the short term, but price had the chance to sell over here. Okay, you've clearly been consolidating above the demand zone. You lost it. You could have easily flipped this into supply, and you didn't. You got back above it. I personally think that is notable. I do think this dip is to be bought over here on IWM. I do think 230.55 will break at some point, and we're going to go straight to 235.92. Support over here on IWM. 224.66, 222.71, and 220.23. On the upside is resistance. You have 226.64, which is right here, 228.04, and 230.55. Like it said, above 230.55, we are going to head up to 235.92. Coming over to DIA, guys, you got so close to all-time highs that it does not make sense for you not to make those new all-time highs. You got within, we're talking $1 over here. Just about $1 there of making new all-time highs, and you didn't do it. I find that fishy. This dip is to be bought. Pulling back here, support is going to be 438.04, and underneath there, 433.20. Resistance now is 444.87 and 451.55. I'll just flash the VIX here. I already showed you guys my 2 scenarios here at the beginning of the video, but just to review them here, we do have VIX looking pretty perky here on Friday. Is the daily candle chart. This thing's probably going to get some follow through here over the next 1 to 2 trading sessions. So it is something to keep on your radar here. And I think, it's not the worst idea. You're in profits. You take the profits this week, go into the following week. I know it's the weekend now, but, this is kind of the idea that I'm having. This is what I'm personally doing. Like I said, I don't want to, I say, I understand that as well. I don't want to just, only share my opinions, but a lot of what you're going to get here on this channel is going to have my opinion mixed into it, okay? The thesis is that we talk about here, I will talk about how I am going to be trading them. And I hope that does not bother too many people. I gotta stop saying I just heard myself say it like 5 times. I didn't even realize that. All right, moving on. And I'm just gonna show NQ over here. I know you have this terrible day right here. Ugly, terrifying, but broader scheme of things, okay, you have this rounded out look to you. You're scraping your way back up there. Let's just see if you can hold this low over here. And as long as you can hold the low, if you scrape back up to new highs, well, you get this nice little trend line going over here. If you break it, chances are you're probably going to make a run for new highs. That's what I'm going to be paying attention to. And, this is why we have this bullish thesis here to be bullish on the dip. There's not really a reason to be really bearish here. Things don't look terrible. This does not look bad. Not look bad. Just double that and go like that. And, oh, you have a bull flag over previous all-time highs. Who's telling you to be bearish on this? Above short-term moving averages. This is the consolidation. Next comes expansion. Okay? There's that. Moving on. Mag 7 stocks, guys. We have the Mag 7 stocks. We'll go over some semiconductor stocks. We'll go over some Bitcoin. And I have over 10 trade ideas at the end of the video just for you. Tesla over here, guys. I do think the end is near over here for the decline. I do think that is the case. I could be wrong about that, but I do think that this is just a pullback after hitting new all-time highs. And it is very likely that this is just profit taking on this wave of buyers that brought up here. This is the profit taking. Okay, give us some cheaper prices. You're going to get the next wave of buyers that comes up, and they're going to boost you up to all-time highs. That's how I think this is going to go. I think you were closer to the bottom here than the upside, all right, than a top at this point in time. Excuse me, it was tickling my throat. Tickling my throat, had to get that thing out of there. All right, over here, guys, Tesla coming into 358.64 support. You're right here on the 0.786 FIB from this most recent move up, starting from right here, going from here up to here. You are right here on the 0.786 FIB. If you cannot hold 358.64, then you really have nothing to come all the way down here into the next golden pocket, all right? And that one is coming, you can see it over here on the weekly chart. It went pretty vertical from right here all the way up to here, guys. That is over 100% move that we're retracing right now. So the retracement is big. If we're going to have it, it's a big retracement. Like I said, you have this wave of buyers here taking profits. Give us some discounted prices. I guarantee you're going to get the next wave of buyers stepping in here. And then you get momentum going. And that's when the FOMO comes in and momentum really starts kicking off like that into new highs. Does this look like bearish consolidation? No. Okay. You had impulsive moves the whole time. You have controlled selling the whole time. It is probably not going much lower. Honestly, at this point, I hope you have a freaking flash crash over here. It takes 1 to 2 trading sessions. You somehow get to 320. Let me buy the crap out of it with, April calls. Let me sit on my hands. Let me wait. Let me get 100% on those. Let me get the frack out. Tesla, you could do whatever you want from that point in time. That's what I would love to happen. Do I think Tesla's going to give me that exact perfect scenario? Probably not. It's probably going to, undercut 358.64 next week. Probably going to put in a bottoming tail on the daily time frame at some point, Monday or Tuesday, and then it would start bouncing back. I really have absolutely no idea how this is going to go in the short term, but I'll tell you right now, daily RSI is down to the spot it's been bouncing back at, and you come over here to the 4-hour time frame. Extended trading hours on. 4-hour RSI is actually already oversold. That is where you started bouncing back last time, and you had a pretty nasty sell-off here. It looked pretty ugly at that point in time, too. That's a $100 move down. All right? This one, $60 move down. It looks pretty ugly, but I'm just pointing out, even when it looks really ugly over here, all right, you're losing the all-time high breakout zone there. You still found buyers right there. So that's where we are right now. It can continue a little lower here, but I don't think it goes much lower. Don't know. But 4-hour RSI already in oversold territory. Daily RSI is in the same spot it bounced back at the last 3, or 2 occurrences over here. Right here, when you're falling off a cliff. All right, you hit it a few days later right there. And then right over here when you fell off a cliff and you were consolidating, and then you started impulsively getting bought up. That's Tesla. NVDA, guys, right here. Very strong close to the week. I honestly just can say, I can't imagine this thing selling from here. I could be wrong on that. I could. We weren't wrong on the dip buy, though. It was a picture perfect dip buy up to 130, 127.67 to 130, 126. Supply zone. Goal was to sell 130. What was the high of day? You want to know the high of day? It was 130.37. All right, so picture perfect plan is planned to, play the reversion back to the mean here. Short-term moving averages, sell into the supply zone. I'm telling you right now, if you get above 130, 126 next week, it's probably going to start heading up into the golden pocket from this whole move down here, which is 144.50 to 137.80. 141.90 is that level that we're going to watch in there. I am not sure if you go straight up there, but I'm telling you right now, just looking at this weekly candle that we just printed, what the heck is that thing? This is something that ends with this. You either just get bought up and that was all she wrote. It's going to be something like this, okay? You get another candle like this big one right here I'm highlighting, okay? This is the candle right here that we have. You either get something like that or you get this. You get this going on, this consolidation here, and then you get the impulsive move up, or you get that candle right there, the continuation style candlestick, and you go for another freaking 20%. And it's like, hot damn, we're at all-time highs already. I am not sure which one is about to come. I don't know, but I'm telling you right now, the move that I, told you guys about, I pounded the table about it. It is already played out. It is time to take your profits, not be a greedy little bastard. Okay? You can do whatever you want to do with your money. No financial advice will be given here on this channel, but I will gladly be that annoying guy here on YouTube that reminds you guys to have good trading habits. That is what I like to do over here. It might annoy some of you guys. It might. But I'm telling you, if you caught a $15 move over here and you were up anywhere from 60 to 100% here in your contracts, that is something that doesn't happen all the time. Same thing over here when we bought Uber and the thing freaking goes 60% in we're talking half an hour. It doesn't happen all the time. It doesn't. Okay. Since when do you buy something 2 months out and it goes up over 100% a day? It does not happen. Okay. So when it does happen, that is when you take advantage and you get out. Maybe it keeps going without you and maybe you're going to be sad. I was sad. Okay. I was actually really sad and mad. I was like, oh my God, dude. You just gave away a car today, and I was pissed about it. I was pissed, okay? But it happens. A lot of the times, I got to wait for these bigger paydays. Well, today, Uber just gave right away, and it gave me a quick, about 10 G's, and I just took it. If I just had waited, we're talking like another half an hour, I could have bought, another 20K new car, and that thought was just in my mind today. I was like, that pisses me off. It was just pissing me off since the morning. All right. We got into April contracts and it was fine. Okay. But I did it with less size. Honestly, I was just very salty to see the March contracts that I sold for under 500 go above $800 today. And I was really salty about it. But it is what it is. Little did I know Uber was going to skyrocket as the, entire market decides to take an absolute dump. So I guess I did the proper thing there. All right. I practiced what I like to preach over here on the channel. But I am just sharing to let you guys know that shit happens and it's going to feel like that when you're in the right place. Okay. When you're making the right decisions, you're in the right spots over here. You're in the hot stocks. You're in something with momentum there. Okay. You have to take profits into the strength. And a lot of the time it's going to suck. As you could tell, I'm still not over it. It is what it is. It haunted me today. I was like, oh, that's an extra 15 to 20 G's left on the table. That's legit an extra car. I could have bought a second car today. And I was pissed about that. It is what it is. We get these opportunities a lot. By a lot, I mean every, we're going to say 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, we probably get a very clear as day setup. And those are the ones that I like to size up on. Normally these paydays, they take a little while to come across. And sometimes you get something that, just looks absolutely so sexy. You just break out of this range here. And it just decides to go to target all in one day. And it's up 9% on the day. And you're like, hot damn. That's pretty crazy stuff. All right. We're going to talk a little about a firm at the end of the video as well. All right. But let's get back over here to the Mag 7 stocks. NVIDIA, guys, this is something I do think is going to continue running. The move is played out. Okay. And even if that's why I know I got a little sidetracked there, but I did have intent behind my little story. Okay. I did want to share my pain here. I want to share my pain of being able to buy another car in one day and being pissed about it. But I did have intent behind it. And that intent is if you're a buyer here, when I was pounding the table here over at 115, okay, you are a seller up here in the supply zone. That was the plan. And sometimes it's going to keep going and it's going to be painful. But it is what it is because you got the meat of the move, you got your money out, and you moved on to the next one. That's all that matters, okay? You keep stacking it. So stack that money. Do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. Moving over here to Goog. Guys, daily RSI is back down to the same spot you bounced back from the most recent downturn over here. We actually had a very similar candlestick print that day as well. You then had a day of consolidation, the following trading session. So that would be Monday. And then you started, just dragging yourself back up to the short-term moving averages after that. We will see how this plays out. But if it does fall, I am a buyer. You have the golden pocket sitting down here. And if you do come down here, daily RSI sitting in oversold territory, oh, baby, be a buyer, okay? I'm talking you buy a little right here. I'm talking you then take the rest of the position when you see this daily RSI get down to oversold territory if it happens. And at that point, you guarantee yourself to be a winner. This dip is very likely to be bought. You're right here on the weekly 9 EMA. I'm just going to point out, last time you took this dive, this very quick dive over here to the weekly 21 EMA, what happened the following week? You actually did end up bouncing back $7. Go $7 from this close. Where are we right now? We're back at 194. I do think we are going to see a bounce back to 190.34 up to 193.31. That supply zone sitting right here was a demand zone. As you see, we're now under it, so we're probably going to reject there. We're going to have to see what happens here in the short term. But if I get a chance to buy down here around 183.79, I am certainly going to be selling into this supply zone up there. And if you just go look at March contracts, that is going to be giving you a decent sized move. A $10 move brings around 100% gain, I'm pretty sure, from remembering what I looked at earlier. Moving on over here to Amazon, I am also going to be a buyer over here. I'm just going to be sitting on my feet. Sitting on my feet, sitting on my hands, I'm sitting on my butt right now. That's what I'm doing. All right. But yeah, I'm just going to be sitting on my hands. All right. I'm going to be a buyer down here. Just wait on it. Your daily RSI is literally sitting down at the same spot it's been bouncing back at for, what is that? That is half a year now, 5 to 6 months. Fall down to 226.51 support. We're going to have the 0.618 fib sitting right under there. I know it looks ugly. You just lost the 21 EMA over there. I understand you found buyers over here, but I do think you're going to have that reversion to the mean trade over here. And we're going to get a chance to play 226.50 back up to 233. All right, so that's the game plan for me over here. I do want to point out you have this ugly weekly candlestick, but we did just break out from this 1.5 to 2 months of consolidation here. So I do think this thing has further upside to go. We are just going to have to see what happens here in the short term. But I am personally going to be a buyer down here and a seller up here. $7 that I plan on playing. Apple over here, guys, I think it's coming down to the lows. I pointed out here, this is the line in the sand, 225.50 down there. That is the 0.786 fib for this most recent rally here. You have bounced there and rejected the daily short-term moving average we pointed out. You really have to reclaim 237.23 to get bullish on this thing again. And from that point, you could have started pushing back up here to 247.33, but we can't even reclaim these short-term moving averages over here in the daily time frame. Rejecting right there, you had reversion to the mean, and now it looks like we're going to take out this low over here under 225.40. You're probably coming down to 219.71. At that point, you do have a left shoulder ahead and a big old right shoulder. We got to see what happens there, but you can break down, and then we're just going to watch the daily RSI to see when the next potential bottom could be, when it's in oversold territory. Okay, coming over to Microsoft, you're already sitting down your demand zone. You do also kind of have that head and shoulders kind of structured to you. If we just look at it like that, I will point out 4-hour RSI You take out this low, you probably will have a 4-hour bullish divergence here, or it will just be an oversold territory. But I do think we're probably going to put in a bullish divergence, and then we're going to start up a bigger bounce from this area. We have this very obvious head and shoulders pattern sitting here, just like over there on Apple. We've seen these things on, buy. We saw this on NVIDIA. I don't think it's going to play out. I think we're probably going to undercut 405.57 and then probably going to get, start getting a bounce back. Daily RSI is already where it has been bouncing back from. So you could see not there. You could see down here. We are right there where we've been bouncing back since September. Okay, the last 5 months, guys. I am not sure if this is just going to bounce back from right here, but if buyers are going to step in, it's going to be right here in this 405.57 to 410.29 zone. 4-hour RSI is, just about oversold there. And your daily RSI is in the same spot it's been bouncing back at. Worst case scenario, you slide down, we get a sick buying opportunity over here in oversold territory on Microsoft, and that is something that I am looking forward to. Meta. Caution is warranted. Honestly, coming into this week, I do think we're probably gonna fall. I showed you, Tesla setup. We probably have another 1 to 2, trading sessions of downside on that. Goog setup. We probably have one more trading session of downside in here. Maybe we get a reversal candle setting up. Amazon, we probably get another trading session of downside, and then it gets bought up intraday and puts in a reversal candle off the 226.51 support. Apple. It very much so suggests we're going to get back down to here. That's selling right there. Microsoft, okay, I'm not really sure exactly how this is going to play out, but, I could see it testing 405.57, maybe undercutting there and then bouncing quickly back up. Meta, you haven't even started falling yet. What happens if the only thing that's really holding the market up starts falling? Well, you also have NVIDIA. That's actually been holding the market up over here. What happens if NVIDIA starts falling? Like, this is what I'm saying. This is at a perfect spot to sell. All these things look like they can sell. I'm not saying NVIDIA does because, the thing closed up near the highs. Insanely, bullish weekly candlestick. Not saying it does, but, we have 6 out of 7 components suggesting we probably can sell right now. We're probably going to sell a little bit. All right. So, first few trading sessions of the week, if we get that gap, if we don't get a gap up like we talked about at the beginning of the video on Monday, then yeah, be open to the possibility of prices sliding further down and you getting your buying opportunity. Okay. Over here on Meta, guys, if you lose 710.79, it's going to be declared a false breakout. From that point, you could come down to the most recent support at 675.25, which, guys, is a $35 move. It's a big boy move. All right. So those are the Mag 7 stocks. I'll just point out weekly candle over here. It's not bearish. Pullback is clearly a buying opportunity over here on Meta. Now we'll talk about some semiconductors over here. And these things over here, you're at the top of the range. Nothing really much to talk about over here on the index of semiconductors. Just got to break out of the range, and you need to confirm it. All right, you need to hit it with a break and retest, and you got to break that high or break that low. But until then, SMH really isn't giving you much data. It's not. What I can point out is Avgo. We did get that nice weekly hammer candlestick off the weekly 21 last week. I know you have the upper wick this week, but we are likely just to, if we're going to, pull back here, we're probably just going to stay in consolidation and then eventually move up to a new high. Other than that, I do think ARM is looking good. I do think, out of all of these, ARM and NVIDIA are probably, Avgo as well. But these are the ones that are looking like they're probably going to be favored here. You come over here to something like TSM. Very ugly bearish engulfing candlestick. I could see this starting to fade. I could see this coming back down to this low over here, which is sitting right at 197.98. All right, now we're going to come over to AMD, actually. That's the last chip stock we're going to point out. And I will point out we had, there were actually more than what you see right here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There was actually 11 mil that came in, 11 to 12 mil that came in calls over here on AMD today. So it is something that I will just point out there. There is a big guy out there that thinks AMD's bottom is right around the corner. So that is something that we should probably take note of. What was the expiration on those? Just take a look. 3/20/2026. All right, so these are leaps. Someone is not going in and taking short-term, short-dated calls, guys. They're not sitting there just gambling on this bottom there. They're saying, over the next few months, it's probably going to be bottoming. When you're playing with leaps, you do not have to get it right even by the month. You do not. So just keep that in mind. But I do think, long-term buyers, I think, you didn't want to be doing it during all this mess. On this dip, this is when you want to be doing that. Down where, it's currently at. Weekly RSI is getting back down to where, the last value spot was. You had a low over here. Before that or after that low, you had a 300% move. Okay. Long-term investors, this is where you shine. I just thought I'd point it out. Coming over here to Bitcoin, I do not have faith that this is going to hold. I'm going to be completely honest. You were just, continuously rejecting these short-term moving averages. You wanted to just flip back up above them after you put in this nice hammer candlestick over here on the daily time frame back on the 3rd. You have not done so, and you've just rejected it. A 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. We'll see if we get a 5th today. I don't know exactly how this is going to play out in the short term, but I'm telling you, I don't really like how that's, not getting back over the short-term moving averages right there. That just means, momentum right now, but it's still in the bear's hand. And that is not bullish. All right. But I will point out, all right, 214, 221, 214, 321. All right. You did have a couple million coming in calls over here today on MSTR. You are in this golden pocket. If you do not hold this, all right, if 310 starts breaking, if you start breaking down under 303.80 support here, we'll call it 303.80 support, you're probably going to come down here to 276. At that point, you're going to test the 0.618 fib from the whole rally we just had. And we're probably going to find buyers somewhere around here. We'll see what we get over here, but it's just something I thought I'd put on your radar. Other than that, I don't think it's, really worth touching these in the short term. I'd say, if you're in calls and they got time on them, I think you'll probably get a spike over the coming weeks. And I think you can exit for better prices then. Just my, opinion there. Again, I told you at the beginning of the video, I will sprinkle my opinion all over these. All right. Other than that, I wouldn't be touching these in the short term. Just my opinion there. Now, guys, we got the trade ideas of the video, and we're actually just going to review the ones we already discussed today in this video. We're going to start off with Tesla. You're at 358.64 support. I do think you come a little bit lower, but, I'm going to be on the lookout for that daily hammer to be coming in. And I think once that next hammer candlestick gets put in, we will probably have a short-term bottom, and that will probably bring a $20 to $30 move. That can be pretty lucrative here on 2 to 3 month options. And that is what I am looking out for. Next one is Amazon. You're right here at the weekly 9 EMA. You're right above the 0.618 Fibonacci retracement from this whole most recent rally. You're right here above 226.50 support. You're probably going to get buyers. You also have the daily RSI right in the same spot where it's been bouncing back for the last 5 to 6 months. I don't know if that trend is going to continue here, but I do think we have a lot of confidence right here, and we are likely to at least get that dead cat bounce back to the short-term moving averages. So buyer 226.50, seller 233. Google. Over here, guys, you did just break down, but we are right here at the weekly 21 EMA. This is a break and retest level, 183.79. Right in there, 182. You're going to have the 0.618 fib from the whole most recent move up. All right. And then daily RSI is in that same spot it's bounced back from last time. Worst case scenario, you see a bigger sell here. You see the daily RSI get down, into oversold territory, like over here, over here, over here. You get to buy, like we're talking 6 months on your contracts, sit on your freaking hands, sit back and wait for this thing to drag, this freaking monster to drag itself back up. Either way, we got an opportunity presenting itself here on this chart. We just got to be patient and see what that is. I do think it is going to, in the short term though, bounce from right here, 183.79, back up to test this 190.34 to 193.31 supply zone. NVDA, I'm just going to give the thoughts. Bullish should go with the candlestick on the weekly candle. All right. On the weekly chart over here. This thing is a freaking monster. Do not fade this thing. This thing is either going to consolidate and then move up, or it just continues moving up to, around 140. It's probably going 140 plus, 135 to 140 incoming. Now, let's talk about it. All right. Let's talk about it. Elf, you had these calls coming in today. I don't know if you could see those. All right. You got about, 3.5 mil in calls, we'll call it. Coming in today, daily RSI is in the crapper. Weekly RSI is in the crapper. You are getting a really big breakdown here. We'll just delete that here. You had this head and shoulders pattern. Your neckline was right there. You broke down from it, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Look at that double top, broke down from it, retested the double top neckline, and then broke down. This is really beautiful. This is beautiful price action right here. All right, but you broke down. Weekly RSI is oversold. Daily RSI is oversold. Very oversold. Maybe the most oversold you've ever seen it. Nope, over there. And what happened over here, guys? Well, it hit the spot where it's at right now. On that day right there, it fell a little bit lower. It fell another 16%. And then after then, it started bouncing back. Give it 2 weeks. It'll bounce back 25%. I honestly do think this is going to get bought up and you're going to fill this 86.29 gap. That's my opinion over here. It's on your radar if you would like. LLY, we're just going to be reviewing this thing, but the pullback over here is a buying opportunity. This was a trade idea I gave you recently. I said if you break above 846.46, that's when this really starts. You break above 811.35, that's when you had the clear move to 846.46. But that bigger move that I spoke about, that just started. So if we get this pullback the next week here, it's probably going to create a lower wick. Regardless, it is a buying opportunity for the move up to new all-time highs. 972.48 is incoming, ladies and gents. You have the measure move here from the ugly double bottom, 121. That brings us up to new all-time high, 972.48. All right, KO, weekly candle, bullish. You want to get back above the 21. I think it's about to happen. It looks like you want to snap back. All right, you keep getting bought here on these dips. You got to dip, you get bought. You got to dip, you get bought. You got to dip, you got to dip, you get bought. You got to dip, you get bought. Now you're consolidating here above these previous highs. I think you're probably getting ready to, release this energy. I'm not a hippie when I talk about energy. All right, let's just talk about this. ASTS. This is another one. I skipped ahead. I didn't want to skip ahead, but I did. All right, but KO, I do think it's getting ready to go. ASTS, guys, we're talking, no hippie energy. We're talking stock market energy here. Let's look at this way. You got a spring. The spring is freaking just getting so tight. At some point, you're going to let go of it, and the spring is just going to snap all back, back to what it once was. All right. All of this energy here, okay, let's look at it this way. You have normal price action. Normal price action goes like this, right? You have these big moves, okay? Really big moves. All right. See how all of these have the big moves? What happens when you don't have the big moves? Okay. There's still buying and selling going on, but you just don't have the big moves. Well, at some point, you break. All right. You break out of what was holding you back. All right. What was making you so condensed here? You still have the same selling and buying here. Okay. There are still shares exchanging hands. All right. But the pressure is building. All right, you're still blowing air into that balloon. And eventually you take that little needle and you pop that balloon. And all of the air tries getting out of that one little hole you just created all at once. And they pop it all at once. They explode. They make a mini explosion with that balloon. And that's where we get the pop. All right. Well, that's literally what these falling wedge breakout patterns are. The falling wedge, bull flags, bull pennants, whatever you want to call them, range breakouts. When you're in this consolidation pattern, okay, you have all that air that's going into the balloon. All right, right here, it was the same thing. You had a crap ton of air coming into the balloon. Eventually, someone popped the hole. All of the air tried running out of that little hole all at once, and you get a big freaking impulsive move. You get the burst of air. And then all the air is gone and things flat. And then you have a new balloon and you get to reinflate it. You're reinflating it and boom, someone pops it right here. And you are probably about to see that. All right. You're probably about to see all of the air trying to escape through that little hole I just talked about all at once. And that's what creates this expansion. That is what creates the impulsive move because the air goes pop, poo, poo. It all tries running out, rushing for the door. All right. going, you know, pushing over the other air molecule. And that's literally how this compression and expansion works. Energy and release, that is how it works. And that is what we have right here. Picture perfect on ASTS. You have 5 to 6 months of consolidation right here, and you are just now breaking out this week. Pull back to 25.18 next week. That is your buying opportunity, clear as day, for the move up to 30.55 and then 39.08. I do think over the next 2 to 3 weeks, you will be above 39.08. That is the call.
It's easy.
That was easy. There you go. Baba. All right. I think it's about to sell. That is my opinion. I think you're about to come back down, revisit 101.45, and then probably going to revisit down here. We'll see if 99.03 holds. If 99.03 doesn't hold, then you're probably going to revisit 96.07, then maybe 94.12. Trade idea is bearish. Yes, Henry is capable of being bearish. It is a thing. Cost over here, guys. I do think this is going higher. I don't know if it's going to go higher right away, but if it pulls back, I'm taking full advantage of it. You just broke out of this consolidation period right here. You pull back. You're probably going to get an equivalent move that is probably going to bring you all the way up here to $1,100. That is the next psychological level that we're going to be paying attention to. And I do think it is coming. And, you know, I'm just saying, March contracts, this is probably going higher, you know, right away. I'm just, you know, letting you guys know. Do you see how the weekly candle closed here? It's not something that's bearish. And if it was, it would give us a perfect entry point. But, you know, this closed out still near the highs. You have that, you know, upper wick there. You have the same thing going on over here. You still have that wide-bodied green bar. This is not telling you bears are in control. This is telling you the exact opposite. Any pullback is likely to be bought up. I do also think pullbacks will be short-lived, and I do think it is, you know, you see this for 3 trading sessions. By the end of the week, you could put in a hammer candlestick and push the high at 1063. Just my opinion, and then I do think up there. So that's cost. Uber over here, I talked about earlier in the video, is the thing that got me all butthurt today. I'm going to be completely honest. I was sad and mad. I was a mixture of both. All right. I guess I can't say. No, I wasn't sad. I was. No, I was. It really was the thought in my head up until the point when I'm making this video. The whole freaking day since like 10:30. It's like 10:30. I had this thought in my head when I acknowledged it. I was like, oh my God, that's a car. That's a car. And like, you know, I have this happen a lot of the times. But a lot of the times, like I said, you're waiting in something and it doesn't pay out all in one day. So you don't feel as bad about it. All right, because it's like, okay, well, I would have had to sit and wait in it, you know, for it to actually, you know, get all the way up to target. All right, so you sell early and you don't feel as bad about it. Today I felt bad about it because it went all in one go, and I was just like, oh my God, that literally is that's a nice car. And you know, my buddy offers today. I was tight about it. I was like, you know what, I would buy. He was like, hey, I'll sell you my car right now for 10 grand. It's like, you know, a nice Beamer. I was looking to buy the car. He just made a joke. And I was like, you know what? If I had held my Uber today, I would have 20,000 to pay you for your car. And I was just pissed about it. Either way, we'll stop talking about it. Over here on Uber, though, it did, you know, get that move all in one go. You did end up getting, you know, $6 from here up to here was 76.40. From this point on, guys, I would not be chasing this thing. It probably does make its way up to all-time highs, but if you are not already in and you didn't get an earlier entry, I do not think it's worth buying right into the golden pocket. A perfect example of buying in the golden pocket is Baba, and you get shat on. You don't want to get shat on. You want to get praised with angel water, okay? You want to walk out there and you want rays of sunshine all around you. You don't want to get shat on. That's what happens over here, okay? The bad guys are sitting in the golden pocket just waiting for you to come in here. The opposing side steps in. They're like, boom, we're about to rain on your parade. Do you want your parade rated on? No, you don't. No, you don't. All right? Uber, do not chase the move. If it pulls back, all right, we're going to say 70 to 72 next week. Buying opportunity. Clear as day. This is probably going to new highs, but I do not think it's worth chasing that move. The entry point was down here. That was the ideal entry point. Not sitting up here near the 0.618 fib. Next one is MCD. I'm just going to point out last earnings report. you did not move up. Earning report before that, you moved up, but after. So that means premiums got crushed. And then you had this base breakout. And then it was really nice. I actually played this one over here. You had this one over here. Maybe it wasn't over here. It was, never mind. It was right here. This was when I played it. I was going to say, I don't think I played this one. I might have. I am not sure. But I know I played either that or that. It was one of these little bases that formed. And I remember playing the break and retest. Maybe it was off of this, though. We hit it with a break and retest there? Nah, it might have been over here then. I'm not sure. Okay. But yeah, earnings did not have any substantial gap up there. Premiums got crushed. And then you had the actual move intraday. And that intraday move, $10. That $10 move, guys, on March cons, there's your 90 to 100%. There you go. And that's before earnings crushes the premiums. Over here, what happened? You dropped and you rallied. So, guys, if we get a pullback on Monday morning over here on McDonald's over here, I do think it's likely to get bought. I am personally very much so looking forward to that dip if it comes. That is a quick opportunity right there. I do think we're probably going to see a very quick recovery with how this is set up here on the weekly and daily time frame. In this, weekly falling wedge pattern, breakout, break and retest over there, as well as this inverse head and shoulders kind of structure we got going on here. Okay. Right here. You see that? Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. You just got the breakout. All right. So if we see price either open flat and premiums crush or open down and premiums crush, I'm looking to take advantage with March or April calls. That is what I'm going to be doing. All right. Above 296.48. We're coming up to 302.39. The setup that I have right here, clear as day target. What I do for all of any stock with this setup, clear as day, one of the targets is going to be that 0.618 fib. It's right here. Perfect, perfect resistance play right here. And then boom, 302.39. Take your profits, okay? You're buying down here. You're exiting up here. Picture perfect. HIMS. We're waiting on that pullback. Ideally, it pulls back to 35.02. I don't think it's honestly going to happen, but this pullback is going to create a buying opportunity. It's going much higher. You could see what's going on over here. It's going much higher. Affirm, this is one I do think is probably going to be immediately going much higher. I will just point out we did have about 10 mil come in over here and, flow here today, 11, 12 mil. All right, 2026. So these are your leap options over here, leap calls. I don't know if this is immediately going to just keep running here, but I do think 83.57 here, clear as day here. If we're just looking on the weekly chart, guys, I'm telling you, all right, I know charts. I feel charts. I look at this chart. I know where it wants to go. I'm telling you right now, there's nothing above 73.34 until 83.57. It wants to test 83.57. Here on the daily time frame, maybe it pulls back to 73.34 and then continues on. As long as this gap support over here holds at 68.30. I do think it's going to continue higher to 83.57. That's a move that you could be playing. Last one is Netflix, guys. It broke out. Same exact setup as we got going on over here. If it gives us the break and retest pullback off of 999, that's your buying opportunity. Okay, I'm already in here. All right, I'm not heavy on this thing. If you give me the pullback, I might add a little more into the position over here. I might double down on this thing. And I do plan on, if I'm buying over here, give me that, $30 move. That's clear as day. We're talking March cons. That's probably, I'm not looking at the, contracts right now, but there's probably going to be a 50 to 60% move. I will take that. I think a $60 move, it was either a $40 or $60 move, was 100% gain on March contracts. All right. So you're buying 999, you're getting up to, pretty much 1,030. You're probably going to be, experiencing a pretty decent move right there. Okay. There you go. All right. With that being said, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed today's video. I know, these weekly updates, we cover a lot of stuff in here. I understand it takes time. For that reason, guys, I appreciate you. I appreciate, your patience with me throughout these videos. I know I'm not the most entertaining guy to listen to. I talk a little funny. All right. I know, but I appreciate you guys. Love y'all. And with that being said, I'll catch y'all in the next one. If you want to trade with me, the link is down below. But aside from that, guys, you have everything you need in this video here to absolutely kill it next week on the pullback, with or without the market pulling back, guys. You know what you got to do. You have the trade ideas on your radar here. You could set your alerts. You know the game plans. You can kill this market, and I believe in you. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.